I have 9 o'clock, and I will call the August 18th, 2025 Board of County Commissioners meeting to order. At this time, I do recognize we have a quorum. Commissioner Thomas, will you lead us in our invocation?
Let us pray. Our most kind and dear Heavenly Father, we come to you today grateful, with grateful hearts, God. We thank you for giving us good health to be able to attend today, and we ask you just to watch over us, God. Lead this board as you will see fit. God, just thank you for giving us the opportunity to come together in a free country to make decisions that will impact our county, and hopefully it impacted in a positive manner. God, we ask you to be with all our first responders, our guys and girls that answer the call in the middle of the night, God, to keep us all safe. We thank you for them. We thank you for their souls, and we ask you just to bless them as only you can. God, we thank you for giving your Son to die on a cross so we may have eternal life. And we ask you just to go with us this week and lead us, guide us, keep us safe, and forgive us of all our sins. In your heavenly name I do pray. Amen.
Amen.
Commissioner Long, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Members of the board, you have the agenda before you. I would like to make an adjustment, and I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of item 6H, an amendment resolution establishing the 2025 schedule of regular meetings for the Board of Commissioners to be added to the consent agenda, and closed session number 1 per January statute 143-318.11A3 to consult with the county attorney to preserve the attorney-client privilege. Do I have such a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Any further discussion? Having hearing none, all in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, the motion's been approved. Item number 5, informal comments. Madam Clerk, do we have any to sign up?
No, sir, we do not.
Okay, we have no speakers. Item number 6, discussion, adjustment, and approval of the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion. Any further discussion? Having heard none, all in favor, please vote by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, the motion's been approved. Item number 7, advisory boards and committees. County Manager.
Okay, good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. We do have a presentation, so I will wait until IT has that pulled up. Within your agenda packets, you did have information for consideration related to both the Economic Development Commission and the Human Services Advisory Committee. Chairman Puryear has requested that we discuss the Human Services Advisory Committee first, so we will get started with that item. There are some statutes that were referenced in your agenda packet that are related to the formation of a Human Services Advisory Committee. As we have previously discussed, this is not required by general statutes, but it is an option that you have available to you as the governing board for our Consolidated Human Services Department. Since our department involves the combination of social services and veteran services, establishing an advisory committee is optional, but you may choose to do so, and there are no general statutes that govern the composition of that board. So we do understand that the board desires to establish an advisory committee, and we would like to get some additional feedback from you today regarding the composition and the kind of charge for that committee, so that our Assistant County Manager and Consolidated Human Services Director, Brian Hart, can draft bylaws and include those perhaps in your next agenda packet on the consent agenda for approval, so we can move forward with advertising for volunteers for that committee. So there are some examples here of the way that the advisory committees are structured in different jurisdictions. One example that we've looked at is Wake County. Although their Consolidated Human Services Department includes both health and social services, they have chosen to establish a separate social services committee in addition to the statutorily required health committee. So what their social services committee does is they review social services issues and programs within the department. They advise the board on policies and procedures that improve the social conditions of the community, ensure that the board has information to advocate for the social services provisions within the county. They evaluate program needs and develop and recommend action-oriented strategies and recommend priorities for advocacy to the board and engage the broader community in support of established social services priorities. We've also provided an example here of a Human Services Advisory Board, which is actually from the state of Minnesota, but it has a very similar orientation to what we would be looking at doing here in Person County. So again, they serve as advocates for delivery of human services that promote self-sufficiency and reduce reliance on the social system. They advocate for a range of services after evaluating community needs and legal mandates. They look again at the community members, what they need, try to view it through their lens so that they can make informed recommendations to the governing board. And they participate in strategic conversations around service delivery and advocate and emphasize the prevention and early intervention in social services. A third example that has been provided to you is from Wayne County. This is their Health and Human Services Advisory Board. So they advise the manager, the County Board of Commissioners on policy and programs of the department. The purpose is to enhance the delivery of health and human services to the citizens of Wayne County. So they emphasize prevention of disease, promotion of public health service, food nutrition. So again, that is a combined program there. So the Wake County and Minnesota examples are probably the most relevant. I know we did reach out to Cabarrus County, but we're not able to get a copy of their bylaws because they too have a similar board. So what we would like to find out from you all as we consider what this advisory committee will look like is how many people you would like to see appointed to this. So staff recommends 5 to 7. And then we, again, would want the Board of Commissioners to approve bylaws so that you can ensure that expectations are communicated as far as how this committee will function. Would you like to see this committee meet on a bi-monthly or quarterly meeting schedule or other frequency? But that is something that is up to you to establish. And then as we think about the different types of seats on this committee, you may want to designate certain ones for certain sectors within the county. So you may want to consider having law enforcement representation from other county departments that are involved in Department of Social Services activities, such as Person Industries, PATS, Health, Guardian Ad Litem representation, program or service recipients, Veterans Council representatives, if this is in fact a Human Services Committee, which would also cover both social services and veteran services, and then any other specific seats or just at-large citizen representatives on the committee. So going back to that, I am just looking for some feedback from the board as far as what you would like to see in terms of the committee composition and the charge for the committee moving forward.
Board members?
I would prefer, with the current situation, we start out with a monthly meeting, possibly maybe moving to a bi-monthly or every other month, but until we get something established, maybe every month, and go with 7 members. When you get above 7, it gets kind of hard to reach a consensus. But
Is everyone in agreement with 7?
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. And for the 7 members, what are the criteria do we want each position to be a representative from?
I like the ideas that are presented with the agencies who have direct contact with our human services departments. And, let's see,
Well, on the county department, I think public health would probably be a better fit. You would get,
Okay. So we're looking, all right, we got seven, we've agreed on seven, so let's just go down, one position from the, sheriff's department.
correct?
All right, that's one. Number two, one position from public health.
Correct.
Okay. Number three, guardian ad litem. All right, number four, a program and service recipient. Can you go into more detail?
So this may be someone who has or is a foster parent, someone who has received services from the department in the past, as far as maybe they were involved in CPS at one time, or maybe they received food nutrition benefits, economic services. So it could be a variety of
Yeah.
different ways they have been receiving, or a program
Yeah, probably
recipient.
somebody that's formally
Okay.
participated, yeah.
All right, so is everyone in agreement with that being the fourth criteria?
a past service recipient.
Okay. All right. Number five, Veterans Council. All right, and the last two, general public.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the recommended? We have a motion. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor, please vote by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. The motion's been approved. Madam Clerk, you have the criteria, please
Yes, sir, I do.
advertise.
And then, just to follow up on the slide, as far as the purpose for the committee, do these, kind of what's included in this slide resonate with you all, as far as looking for this board to be able to be advocates, for social services, both to you all and to the community, to evaluate community needs, to make recommendations to you as a governing board? Are those the types of things you're looking for?
Didn't the previous board, have something to do with the, hiring of the director? Was that correct? Every year you had to vote on that? I don't know
Yeah.
whether you wanna include that in there or not.
Well, and are you asking about the hiring of the social services director?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Well, and so that authority went to the Board of Commissioners when the Consolidated Human Services Agency was created.
Okay.
So I don't know
So
that
it goes
that's
to the
needed
Board of
now.
Commissioners.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And just to clarify, it is the manager's hiring authority
Right.
when it comes to the social services director, with input from the Consolidated Human Services Board. So you all, as the governing board, acting in that capacity, do have input into the process. So,
Thank you.
okay. All right. So are we finished with that item and want to move on to the discussion about Economic Development Commission?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so, as I stated during your, last meeting when we discussed this, which was 4 weeks ago, I had been doing some additional research into the options for, structuring the Economic Development Commission and the Economic Development Department. The board's request was for the Economic Development Director to report to the EDC. And we, along with TC and I, have done extensive research into the general statutes that provide for the authority as far as supervision goes. And there are two options that I included in your packet that have come out of doing that research. And I've talked with quite a few people at the School of Government, as well as other counties, in terms of looking at the way this function is structured within other local governments. So the two very straightforward approaches that are provided for within the general statutes would be for economic development to remain a line department or a county department, as it is currently, with the employees reporting to the county manager through the county manager form of government. If the commissioners so desire, we can talk through what it looks like for the Economic Development Commission in its capacity as an advisory board to provide a higher level of direction or input into the economic development process and establish those expectations going forward. The other option that's provided for in general statute, and this is the one that I was trying to get some additional information on, would be for the Economic Development Commission to function as a public authority. We have a resolution in place that established the Economic Development Commission that actually states it is a public authority, but it has not been functioning in that capacity. So in order for it to truly function as a public authority, it does have to have its own budget. And so in order to establish a budget for the EDC, the Board of Commissioners could appropriate funding to the Economic Development Commission. And the EDC could use that funding to hire and fix the compensation of any personnel necessary to its operations. So that is a key provision within the general statutes for the EDC to be able to have the hiring and supervisory authority for its own staff, that it functions as that public authority, that it has a budget to pay the staff, and then those employees would become employees of the Economic Development Commission rather than county employees. And so that is established, again, within general statutes, Chapter 159 as well as 158 that goes through the provisions for EDCs. So under Chapter 159, for an EDC to function as a public authority, they must abide by all local government finance and applicable public employment law. So they would be, as a public authority, tasked with appointing a finance officer, having a budget in place, following the Local Government Fiscal Control Act, and again, ensuring that they abide by all public employment law for their employees. So I'll be glad to answer any more questions about that if you have them. Those are the two options that we have established as being available under general statutes. I did include a provision or a bullet in the agenda packet, that if there's further discussion around what the board wants, we can continue to evaluate this. So far, I have not been able to come up with an example of exactly what the board has stated that you would like to do or found support for that within the general statutes, but we can continue to look and evaluate the options if that is what the board's preference is going forward.
And Mr. Chairman, if I could, I'd ask that the board have its discussion about this matter after our closed session.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Do I have a motion to table this agenda item until after our closed session today?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion. Any further discussion? Haven't heard none. All in favor, please vote by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. This motion's been tabled until after our closed session. All right. Chairman's report. I have nothing at this time. Manager?
I don't have a report today.
All right. Vice Chairman Thomas?
I just want to wish everyone a happy first day back at school, to all the teachers, staff. Wish everyone a good year and good luck.
Commissioner Wilburn?
I agree with that, and also, I participated in a meeting with other commissioners and county leaders, with Brad Knight when he was here, Congressman Brad Knight, when he was here on August 8th. We shared needs and concerns of the county related to infrastructure and education. Commissioner Long and I have continued to meet with the planning director about the planning ordinance, and I believe her timeline suggested was for that to go to the planning board in September and then here in October. May get pushed back 1 month. I can't remember if she's leaving in November or
Mid-November.
and attended the planning board meeting. And I also wanted to ask the manager to just give a high-level update about that football team.
Sure. Okay, let me pull up the email that I sent on Friday for reference. So, let's see. So in the past, we have, within Person County Recreation Arts and Parks Department, had a youth football program. During COVID, that was one of the programs that did not continue just due to the nature of the contact associated with that sport. So the department has tried various approaches to reviving youth football over the last several years, and there has not been a strong interest in reestablishing that internal program. I think it was last year, we did support, I think, 2 travel teams that played in the South Boston League. We had looked at either going to Alamance County or Durham County at that time, but neither one of those could accommodate our teams within their leagues. So that was one thing that we had done. They utilized county equipment. We opened up the registration, ran it through the county, and that was where we found for those 2 teams to play. We've also had flag football as an option for keeping youth engaged in the sport. Just we have not been able to support a tackle program. This year we did try to gauge interest in having tackle football. So we only had 22 people sign up for the team, and we needed at least 25 or 28 to field a team safely. And in addition to not having enough participants register, we only had 2 people interested in being assistant coaches. So we did not have any interest from a head coach for tackle football. But our John Hill, our director, has been in conversation with Mr. Rufus Long, who did coach flag football, and is aware that he has an interest in starting up a team. They had these conversations a few months ago, and had some discussion about him coming to the Recreation Advisory Board to make a presentation and a formal request, but that has not happened yet. So our department is very much open to those discussions and finding ways to support tackle football here in the community. It is something that needs to get started like now in order to prepare for having a solid option in place for next fall. So that's kind of where it stands at this point. I think that I hit the highlights, but the main thing is having enough participants to safely play, having head coaches who know the sport, and then of course there are provisions for needing to have our helmets certified. So there is an expense related to that, and we need to have a good handle on how many people are participating before we go through the process of getting that equipment ready for them. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Well, thank you for sharing that, and I guess, we can look at options for that, because I do know that we have the people here. I don't know if just getting the information out there so they would know how to sign up, because I know the number of kids we have going to other counties exceeds what we didn't have to sign up here. And so Mr. Long, I know he is willing to do these things. My son played flag football was part of that camp, and like I said, he plays for a tackle football league in Alamance County right now, along with other Person County kids. So I'm excited for that and see what the county could do to help our youth who are interested in this. Mm-hmm. So thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Also, just to agree with Commissioner Thomas and Wilburn, wish everyone a safe back to school, a good school year, and teachers. I saw the excitement today when I was at South Elementary with the kids. So we're looking forward to all of our kids in Person County having a great school year. And the other thing I would like to let my constituents know that I will not be here at the September 2nd meeting. I am on a 13-week marathon of training social workers across the state, so I'm pretty much having a 36-hour turnaround time at home before I'm back on the road. I'm actually leaving for Bertie County right after this meeting, and I'll be gone. So I will be, I think, in Richmond County that week. And because of how the holidays fall or whatever, I will have to miss that meeting. So I've already let County Manager and Chairman Pierre know about that. So I will be traveling. So y'all keep me in your positive thoughts on these roads over the next several weeks as I'm traveling across the state. That's all I have.
Commissioner Long?
Well, it's gonna be lonely over here in this corner. On the football update, you know, I've served on the rec board since 2006 or 7, but to give you a little background on that, it used to be we had athletic clubs all through the county, and we had a lot more elementary schools than we have now, so every school had an athletic club. You had Cavell, Longhurst, East Roxbury, you had, all these schools had athletic clubs, and they had booster clubs, and we don't have them now. And that's part of the issue, but it's not because of lack of effort on the rec department's part. They did try to revive it, and there just wasn't enough interest. You have to have enough kids to field enough teams to make it a viable league. You just can't have 2 teams playing one another the whole season. So they have tried, so I'm glad I seen that about Mr. Hill, so I'm glad he's looking into that. The Animal Services Committee, they do meet this week, but I've got a conflict with that meeting. And as Ms. Wilburn said, the planning board continues to meet. She and I went to the planning board like we have been for a long, long time now, to the meetings, and we're continuing to meet with the planning director on updating those ordinances, and that's moving along really well. So I'm really pleased with that. The Environmental Committee met last week. I attended that meeting. They have a lot of questions and concerns about the Microsoft mega site, and they had a list of questions I think that they're going to try to submit to Microsoft and try to get some answers on that, as I've been advised. And then I want to say happy birthday to TC. Next week's his birthday. I didn't know if Michelle wanted to leave singing happy birthday, or we just.
I planned it for an off week when I wouldn't be there.
We appreciate your effort. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. At this time, do have a motion to go into closed session number 1 per General Statute 143-318.11A3 for the purpose to consult with the county attorney to preserve the attorney-client privilege with the following individuals permitted to attend: County Manager Catherine Cathy, Clerk to the Board Michelle Solomon, and County Attorney T.C. Morphus Jr. Do I have such a motion?
So
We have a motion. Any further discussion? Having hearing none, all in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. We're now in closed session.
Yes, could we go back to the presentation, please? So just to kind of finish going through what was included in your agenda packets, I did include the EDC bylaws as they are currently stated, as far as expectations for the EDC and the role that they play in our economic development program. And then I did provide just a rundown of what's been included on the agendas, just for the board's awareness. I included the 10 meetings from 2022 when we were coming out of COVID, as well as the 9 meetings that were held in 2023, and just the standard and routine items that the EDC considers, as well as additional presentations, information items, areas for discussion that were included on their agendas. And then again, just setting out the options for organizational changes per general statutes for discussion and next steps that would be associated with either. So I am available to answer any questions and for the board's discussion on this topic.
Board members, I sent an email out yesterday evening from the former Economic Development Director, Glenn Newsom. Did everyone have a chance to read that email?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do we have any comments on that email?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Newsom, in his letter, he talked about, I think it was 1994, was a banner year for Person County. And that they created, I'm trying to find it on here, 1,200 new jobs in Person County. And at that time, the way it was set up is that the Economic Development Commission hired the Economic Development Director, and the director reported to the Economic Development Commission. As a matter of fact, Mr. Stovall, who was director at that time in 1994, and Mr. Newsom, they were really a good tag team. Mr. Stovall, as we all know, was a businessman. He was in sales, and he was a very good salesman. And you can't go to college and get a sales degree. You're either born with the ability to sell or you're not. It's kind of in your personality. They did very good. As a matter of fact, they were so good. I believe Jim Hunt was the governor at that time, and he had the two of them go around the state and make presentations to other economic development commissions around the state about how they were able to make that success and attract so many jobs. I think we were that year, that was the highest number of jobs of any economic development commission in the state. And so it was very highly praised and was very effective. And then we got away from it. And I'd like to see us get back to that point to where the Economic Development Director is hired and appointed by the Economic Development Commission, and the director gets their directives from the Economic Development Commission, where they can help them. You have good business people and good community leaders on that Economic Development Commission, and that's what they're there for, is to help the director. Not to overtake the director, but to help the director. Nobody knows everything. That's why the President of the United States has a cabinet. He can't know everything about the economy and defense and world affairs and everything else. And that's the same thing as the Economic Development Commission. And I would like to see us go back to what we had before. Because when this was started, I think there were two simple directives from the county. The charge was given by the EDC to create job opportunities for the citizens of the community and expand the tax base. And that's what we need to get back to. You know, everybody is screaming about the fact that property tax evaluations are going up and you're paying more in property taxes. If we can get industry to come here and invest more money, that's more tax dollars coming in, and you don't have to increase your tax rate per year. You can actually decrease your tax rate. And I think that should be one of the extreme driving factors in going back to this different model that we had before.
Other board members?
I agree. I mean, that's what we had unanimous support for when this topic came up. You were on the EDC for how many years until you were appointed to this board, and that's the only reason you came on?
2017, I think.
And did you see a difference in the, participation of the EDC in that time?
In the last 2 years, it changed. It's like the EDC was a book, and it was closed up, and it was put on the shelf, and we didn't really have very much ability to have any input into what was going on. And it just became less effective. You know, we have Microsoft that's come to the mega site. And it's not about getting credit for anything, it's about results. And if you want to get down to it, the mega site was there because of the PCBIC. Now that happened back in 2012. I wasn't on the PCBIC then, so I'm not tooting my own horn because I'm on the PCBIC. But the PCBIC had the vision to look at having a industrial site that we could recruit some industry to Person County. And it was always something to do in the computer industry. It was particularly about chip building, but now that's evolved into data. And so the only reason that mega site was there is because the PCBIC invested the funds, they did the due diligence, they had the engineering work done, they had everything ready for it to go. We even had a permit from the EPA, and that's very difficult to get, but we had that permit. We were much further along than any other mega site in North Carolina. And you've seen these other mega sites, now you've got them up in Randolph County and Guilford County, and a lot of development has come there. And I'm sure something's gonna be big with Microsoft building or buying this site. But the only reason they came is because of the foresight of the PCBIC working to make that happen. And so it's a good model, it's a tested model, and you can't argue with the results that we've had.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, we've been presented with two options, but it sounds like from the county attorney that there is the opportunity to move forward as previously discussed.
Yes, ma'am, I think that's correct.
So if that's the case, then there's some items that were presented in the packet that would need to be changed, back to the way they were in our first discussion, with the org chart, with the bylaws, and maybe with the job description, and I can give page numbers and cite the specific ones if necessary.
Go ahead.
I still have the previous records before those
Okay.
edits were
Okay.
made, so.
And one other thing about that, it was saying that it was adopted on, or changed, amended the bylaws on the 25th, no, August 21st instead of today. I wasn't sure why that
Okay,
would be.
I got the date wrong, so, yeah,
Okay.
18th.
All right. What is the desire of the board?
I make a motion that we move forward with the change to the structure as previously proposed and revert back to those changes that we just discussed in the bylaws, the job description, and the org chart to reflect that.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm looking here, and I wanna make sure, and I see on our, we had talked before, and I'm going through, like, the makeup of, let me see, bylaws and all of these things. I wanna make sure with this vote, we're not, our previous, meeting, when we had talked about the mayor's, seat, or who's appointed to represent the city.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanna make sure I'm not overlooking it. Is that
That's-
change in
that-
there?
That was in the consent agenda. That's already been approved. Right?
I don't think it was in the
No.
consent
No, it
agenda,
wasn't.
it's actually another item within this. So there were three parts within
Okay.
this advisory boards and committees discussion. So one was the particular order on the agenda abstract was, Economic Development Commission, that was kind of A, and one was this structure. 2 is to approve a resolution amending the Person County Economic Development Commission for a change in membership and appoint Mayor Marilyn Newell as the Roxborough City Council member. And then B was to consider the Human Services Advisory Board. So you've already done the Human Services Advisory Board piece. So there are 2 parts to what was presented related to the EDC.
Okay, so that one would require a separate motion from,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, you comfortable, Commissioner Royster?
Yes, in that, and with these changes here also, this, with the Economic Development, Director being able to, remain as a county employee, receive county benefits, all of those types of things with this vote. I just wanna make sure that we are understanding that with this vote, that we are keeping the best interests of Person County in the forefront, and, that it's all professional and not personal. And that looking at the bylaws, and I'm looking at some of the things listed here, some of the things that EDC is standing for, particularly in the community regarding not only looking at industry, because I've only heard talk about industry, and we understand that industry come here based on what the county has to offer. And so there are some other things listed here other than just industry. So I just want to make sure all of these things are, we're thinking about those things with this vote, but I want to make sure that whoever is in this seat, that they're able to maintain their benefits, they're still county employees, and that we are thinking about what's in the best interest of Person County, and it's not anything on a personal nature.
Yes, ma'am, well said.
Okay.
I don't feel like it's anything of a personal nature. This doesn't have anything to do with the current Economic Development Director. It's about being able to help whoever is the Economic Development Director with our community leaders.
All right, members of the board, we have a motion on the floor. Any further discussion? All right, having hearing none, all in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion's been approved.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a comment related to Mr. Long's comments.
Yes, ma'am.
And, information he shared in his commissioner comments before the closed session related to the Environmental, Issues Advisory Council having questions for Microsoft. And it was your understanding that they intended to do what with that?
Well, you know, at the planning board meeting that happened, the chairman of that committee and I happened to be sitting beside one another. And I did ask him, because I had gotten that email about those questions, and I asked him what was the committee planning on doing with it, and they were going to submit it, the best I recall from my conversation. I wasn't taking notes. You know, we were discussing back there where the meeting was going on, was that they were gonna submit those questions to Microsoft and ask for some information to answer those questions. And I think he said that typically when Microsoft gives information, they go through a media outlet. So I'm not sure what the media outlet is that they're talking about submitting it to, but it was a lot of questions.
Well, we've had previous discussions about that board and concerns with taking action that conflicts with what this board or previous board, the elected body, has supported, and I would consider that to be one of those things. And I had mentioned in voting to reappoint Mr. Brower as the chairman, that that was conditioned upon having a commissioner representative there, and thank you for being there and bringing that back to us. From my personal point of view, I would hope that you would go back to him as soon as possible and tell him that, you know, that's outside of the scope. But I don't know the thoughts of the rest of the board members, but I don't wanna send a conflicting message to an industry that the county has invested a great deal in recruiting, like you just described, and has supported in various ways, seeking them to make investment here and create jobs here like we just talked about. And then hearing from a different, group appointed and given authority by the county that here's all these concerns we have, or, you know, questions we want answered. And I think that if there's those questions to be asked, it should come from this board.
I think what we can do is I can speak with Mr. Long is the representative on that board, and me and Mr. Long can have some dialogue with the chairman of that committee, and so that we have a thorough understanding of the purpose of that committee. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Having no other further business, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
All right. I'm sorry?
I thought she said it was a second piece to this.
Right, oh, yes,
Oh,
the
I'm
resolution,
sorry.
for appointing the city of
I was ready to
Roxborough
go.
representative.
All right, so I personally do not have an issue with keeping keeping whoever is the next mayor of Roxborough, giving them a seat. You know, it's been precedent that's the way it's been in the past, and we're gonna have a new mayor, and whoever that may be, I do think needs a seat at table, and I know Commissioner Royster had mentioned a few things as well, and so I think that that part needs to stay in place, but I entertain discussion on that.
Well, the way it's structured right now, it already is the elected mayor or alternate elected official, so if the mayor, you know, sees fit to appoint someone else from the city council, they already have the latitude to do that, so I'm fine with, removing that addition and leaving it as it is.
Okay? All right. Everyone in agreement?
Yeah, I agree.
All right,
So we just won't amend it, we'll leave
Okay.
the wording as is.
all right, so, County Attorney, we need a motion for that?
Yes, please.
All right. Members of the board, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Wait,
All right,
Or you need a motion? What if-
not to approve the recommended changes.
To leave it as it is.
Leave it as
Make a
is.
motion to leave it
Okay.
as it is.
Not to change it, just
Right,
leave it
right.
as it is.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, why do we need a motion if we're not changing it?
Can I get one just to remove it from the agenda?
I just wanted
Okay.
to have a clear record for the clerk.
Okay,
Thank
Why
you.
don't we amend the motion to remove it from the agenda then?
You just did.
Okay, yeah.
all right, we did. All right. All in favor, please vote by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion's been approved. Now, any further business? All right, having hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, all in favor, please vote by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Meeting's been adjourned.